Isn't it amazing? One nation under God. Huh? Remember?
Yes.
You know, when you look out here and you look at these, well, let me start out by just asking a question. How many, this is a lot of categories on this, and so y'all kind of stay with me. How many of y'all either veterans of service or families of veterans of service or love those who serve? Okay, see, that's a good deal. We don't have to send anybody away or anything. That's nice of y'all. It's a special day for us because we get a chance to open the doors on a little interim kind of a museum. And so some of y'all that went to OU are wondering what that word means. Interim. Now, all the people from Oklahoma State would be able to tell you that interim is somewhere between where you start and where you're going. That's what we're opening today, just for you. Just want you to be able to walk through there and think about where you were, when, and think about our kids, think about our grandkids, and all the things that made this country what it is. You know, we have more than 230 years of American history, and if you were anywhere around my wife at any particular point in your life, she would have given you a lot of education about history because she's a history teacher. And she's been giving me a lot of instruction for a lot of years, going on 40 of them. And she has had a lot to do with what you see when you go walking through the little exhibits next door. What a wonderful community we have here that opened their arms to an outsider and said, come on down. And so we decided we would do that. And you can think back a long, long time. Can y'all hear me all right? Okay. Be sure and clap if I say something good. Go back a long, long ways. A history teacher will tell you you can go back to Lexington and Concord more than 230 years ago when Americans first stood up and said, hey, 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 we're Americans and we're going to live in a country that's free. And then you can go from there to Gettysburg and Vicksburg while we were all trying to figure out as a young nation what we were ultimately going to be. And you can go from there to the Maine, and you can remember places like the Meuse and the Argonne and Verdun in World War I, long time ago, and none of us were here to see it. But the fact is that these young men and women who wore uniforms like that one standing right back there didn't come home until it was over there. And then you can go from there to Omaha Beach. You can go to Pearl Harbor. You can go to the Greatest Generation. And you can think about those who served. And then you can go to Incheon. And you can go to the frozen Chosin. And you can think about all those who served. And you can go from there to Hue. And An Loc. And you can go to the Highlands, and you can go to the Delta, and you can recognize that we as Americans have never done the best job that we could have done, and we didn't do what we should have done when we should have said welcome home. to all those who served over there a long time ago in a place called Vietnam. And you can go from there in 19... And you can go from there to 1983 in Beirut, Lebanon, where we lost our Marines. Then you can go from there to 1993 in a place called Mogadishu, Somalia, where we left so many of our young men dead in the streets and didn't even bring them home. Mogadishu, Somalia. And you can go from there to 1996, Khobar Towers, Saudi Arabia. And in the middle of that, you can go to Desert Shield and Desert Storm in 1990 and 91, and you can go on all the way through where we are today, with young men and women serving a long ways away from home in Afghanistan and Iraq, and freedom and the ability for you and me and my family and my daughter and her husband and our grandkids standing right over there. To be able to live in the land of the free because of the brave. And it's time, this time of year, for us to recognize our veterans, recognize their families, recognize those who serve, raise our heads up, and not be ashamed of the fact that we are the land of the free, the home of the brave. And if you don't believe that, just try to take it away from us. Okay, that's enough bawling and everything like that. I get a little bit emotional when I talk about this kind of stuff, and when I look into the eyes of people who really and truly care about what they're doing. Like my son-in-law, who, as we speak, serves in our military, and I'm honored that you are number one part of my family, and number two, that you're here. All right. So what we're fixing to do is some of us are going to eat donuts over here and drink coffee and whatnot. Some of us are going to go through that little trailer and see what kids at 130 schools in Oklahoma are going to see this year, because what we do is we drive it up on the school grounds, and kids and their teachers get a chance to go through and just see something that they probably haven't ever seen before about a part of the world that's very important to our country. And some of us go down and go through the little museum. And I encourage you not to get in there in a rush. Take your time. There's some exhibits and stuff in there to look at, but there's a lot of words. And I encourage you to just slow down a little bit on this day and read some of the words and think about some of these wonderful people that serve our country. Thanks a lot for being here on this most magnificent day, for holding your head up, for being proud to be an American. God bless all of you, and God bless America. Thank you.